He's not in his prime, is he? He's literally at the end of his career, pretty much finished. And this is why taking this fight with you is telling you all you need to know. It's a cash out.
He can fight anyone and get views and make money. This crazy wild boy sends out the bat signal, the British bat signal for Anthony Joshua.
What you, the audience, have for Jake Paul is that you want to see somebody end this experiment. Do it brutally, do it quickly.
Carl Froch isn't holding back, unloading a brutal assessment that paints Anthony Joshua as completely washed up. His explosive criticism ignites the debate once again. To begin with, Nikisa Bedarian, Jake Paul's business partner, highlights Paul's betting odds against Anthony Joshua by comparing them to another major boxing mismatch, the Canelo-Skull bout, where Canelo, the overwhelming favorite, simply won against Skull, the decisive, survival-focused underdog. Nikisa tweeted, "Jake Paul is less of a betting underdog against Anthony Joshua than William Skull was against Canelo Alvarez. Let that marinate in your mind a little bit." Meanwhile, in a recent video explaining his reasons for fighting Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul confidently mocked and challenged both Anthony Joshua and Gervonta Davis.
A big boy!
Building on this, Jake jokingly dismissed a list of potential boxing opponents with mocking excuses, thereby giving the humorous reason of why he chose Anthony Joshua for the fight by dramatically settling on him as the only challenge left.
Now let's take a look at this list. Canelo, injured. Francis Ngannou, scared. Floyd Mayweather, my brother beat him. Mike Tyson, done that. Lennox Lewis, too young. Ryan Garcia, easy work. Tommy Fury, wanted more time. Deji, Deji. Nate Diaz, been there, done that. Conor McGregor, owned. Logan Paul, maybe. Sidney Sweeney, that's not a bad idea. But as I looked closer at the list, I saw one name that stood out. Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua. That's gotta be it, Bernard! Fire up the jet! I'm going back to training camp. I'm fighting Anthony Joshua!
Furthermore, Jake hypes his upcoming fight with Anthony Joshua, framing it as the biggest and most dangerous challenge of his career. He declares the Anthony Joshua bout the biggest of his career and confidently promises to knock out and embarrass Joshua live on Netflix on December 19th.
Reality is, Gervonta fumbled the biggest bag of his career and ruined a relationship with the biggest streaming platform in the world. Make no mistake, this is the biggest fight of my career. I'm walking into the lion's den. I'm doing something that no one else has ever done before. I, Jake Joseph Paul, will knock out, defeat, and embarrass Anthony Joshua Friday, December 19th, live on Netflix. My voice cracked, I'm still going through puberty.
On the other hand, Carl Froch discussed Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fights, asserting that AJ is not in his prime, but is at the end of his career and taking the fight purely as a cash-out. Froch dismisses the fight as a serious contest, predicting it should be a one-round job for AJ, despite him being past his best.
This is Judgment Day. I thoroughly hope so. A professional heavyweight fight against an elite world champion in his prime. Fake Paul, let me stop you right there. Anthony Joshua, in his last 7 fights, has been beaten 3 times. The 4 fighters that he beat didn't come to win. So he's not in his prime, is he? He's literally at the end of his career, pretty much finished. And this is why taking this fight with you is telling you all you need to know. It's a cash out. He might as well just cream as much money as he can at the end of his career, fighting an absolute joke show in clown world. When I beat Anthony Joshua, he says, every doubt disappears. Come on. I mean, if this is a straight up AJ versus Jake Paul, then we all know what should happen. This is a one-round job because AJ, even though he's past his best, even though he's seen better days.
He further added that Anthony Joshua is fighting Jake Paul purely for the money and that the match is not a legitimate step toward a world title, as AJ is done in heavyweight boxing at an elite competitive level. He views the contest as a massive mismatch that should not last more than a single round.
Fake Paul is not a step in the direction of becoming world champion again. There's many people who could box. He's not going to make that kind of money. So let's just be honest with anybody else. So let's just be straight up honest about it. He's doing it all for the money. It's all about the money. I did say a year ago when he got splattered by Daniel Dubois that he's finished in boxing, he needs to retire. That's just my opinion. That's just my truth. I think he's done in heavyweight boxing at an elite competitive level. So that makes sense. I've been vindicated. He's now fighting fake Paul in what will be a massive mismatch. If this is correct and it's 10-ounce gloves in a professional boxing rules, 8 3-minute rounds, it's not going to go 2 rounds, is it? It shouldn't do. It shouldn't last a round. But we're going to have to wait and see, aren't we? It's hard to get your head around. It's hard to know what to say about this. AJ's obviously excited about it, about making some serious bunts.
Continuing his criticism, Froch emphasizes that Jake Paul is far below the level required to challenge Anthony Joshua. Carl Froch cannot take the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight seriously, arguing Paul lost to a low-level cruiserweight and has never faced a heavyweight.
But AJ's a big punching heavyweight, and fake Paul's never been in with a heavyweight. Like I said earlier, he lost to Tommy Fury, a cruiserweight. He lost to him. Tommy Fury's not even British level, so you can't chuck fake Paul in with Anthony Joshua and take it serious. Well, I can't anyway. Let me know in the comments if you're going to take this fight seriously, because I can't get my head around it. But listen, the fight's been announced. AJ's jumping in with fake Paul on Netflix, so we're just going to have to wait and see. I mean, it's fake Paul Clown World, isn't it? So let's see what the clown show produces. But I don't know. I'm very, very dubious this fight even happens. So I've had a lot of people messaging me, sending me WhatsApps and DMs on social media, and they're asking me what I think about it, and this is why I'm doing this video. So what do I think about it? Things to consider are, does Jake Paul deserve credit? And I never thought I'd say this, but yes, fake Paul deserves a bit of credit, because he's jumping in there with somebody that could potentially render him unconscious.
Moreover, Froch believes that Anthony Joshua's greatest contribution was generating massive public interest in huge boxing events. Froch concludes that AJ is currently cashing out and fighting Jake Paul in the clown world, which slightly damages his legacy.
People want to come and watch him fight, not to watch boxing because they enjoy boxing, but because they want to be involved in a big event and a massive occasion. So that's great for boxing, and that gets all eyes on the beautiful sport that I love, professional boxing, which is great, so fair play. But that's his legacy. He's not had a Hall of Fame career, not showing off, but you've got to have back-to-back world title defenses, and you have to be successful against elite level fighters to be in the Hall of Fame. You know, it's got to be acknowledged, and you know, that's no slant on him. AJ's gone in there, he's faced everybody. I don't think he should have probably jumped in with Usyk when he did, but he was brave enough. He dared to be great, he believed in himself, he just wasn't good enough. Does this damage his legacy? A little bit, because he's fighting in the clown world, isn't he? Fake Paul Clown Show is in full force, but it's big bunts. The Bunsen burner's lit, like I've said. He's cashing out. And fair play to him, he's cashing out.
In contrast, Tony Jeffries compared the recent professional activity and perceived risks for Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. He credits Jake Paul for accepting the fight, but notes AJ has been inactive with only 2 fights in 2 years, while Paul has been far more active, setting up a clash between a past champion and an ambitious newcomer.
And fight a 2 times heavyweight world champion, you've got to have a big giant set of balls, right? Now you might think,
Well, look, Anthony Joshua's 36 years old. He's past it.
no mate, Alexander Usyk, who's the world heavyweight champion now, probably the pound for pound best fighter in the world at heavyweight, is 38 years old. If you look at history over time, a lot of heavyweights seem to prime as they get older. Now, a problem for Anthony Joshua is his activity. He's only fought twice in 2 years, and one of them he got knocked out off Daniel Dubois. That was his last fight, and a lot of people say you can only judge a fighter's quality from their last fight. And then the fight before that was a win, but it was a win against Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou, if you know, he was the UFC heavyweight who's not a real boxer, and he only had 1 fight before that boxing fight, what he lost as well. So that's his activity in boxing. Now, Jake Paul, on the other hand, looking at his box rec, he's had 6 fights since 2023.
Additionally, Tony highlighted the physical stats and boxing experience of the fighters. Though Jake Paul has a slight age advantage, Anthony Joshua has a major edge in size and massive experience, highlighted by his Olympic gold medal and far deeper professional record.
And I just want to look at the tail of the tape. Now, looking at the age difference, we've got 28 years old compared to 36 years old. So I guess the advantage there goes a little bit towards Jake Paul. 28-year-old is better than a 36-year-old. But that being said, we've got talking about experience and everything else, what comes with being 36 years old at Anthony Joshua's level. And then, like I mentioned, the heavyweights kind of seem to the prime a little bit older. They'll come down to the height and the weight. This is the big one. 6'1" versus 6'6". 200 pound versus 252 pound. We got a 252 pounder in Anthony Joshua. The reach advantage is a lot, which we would expect. Amateur fights, we can see that Jake's only had one, where AJ's had 43, but 43 of them are included at the highest level, Olympic level. And yes, he won the Olympic bloody gold medal, if I don't need to remind you. Then the pro record, Jake Paul has had 13 fights, lost 1. AJ has had 28 fights and he's lost 4.
As a result, Tony gives his prediction for the fight, stating that despite his respect for Jake Paul's aspirations, the challenger has been too ambitious. He highly praises Anthony Joshua as an exceptionally skilled and powerful professional, and forecasts that Joshua will secure a victory inside the first 3 rounds.
Jake Paul can punch hard, but do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not, mate. Anthony Joshua is an absolute beast, an unbelievable, highly skilled, highly trained, highly experienced professional boxer with power in both hands, and he's really good at finishing people off. And even though I really take my hat off for Jake Paul for taking this fight, I didn't really want to take it because of what's going to happen in the result of this fight, and I want to keep on this Jake Paul train. I think he's doing great, and I love his ambition. I love that he's trying to become a world champion and following his dreams and believing in himself, but at a certain point, you bite off more than you can chew. And this right here, he's bit off way more than he can chew. I think Anthony Joshua is going to end this fight within 3 rounds.
But at the same time, Shannon Sharp discusses the experience disparity between the two fighters, but takes the time to commend Jake Paul for the serious effort and dedication he has shown in transitioning from a YouTuber to a legitimate boxer who has created a lane for himself in the sport.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know Anthony Joshua's history, but I'm thinking about ring experience. That's pretty much it. And I commend Jake Paul for what he's done. I commend him for the work he's put in and how serious he's taken the sport. You know, from going from a YouTuber and actually taking it seriously and dedicating his life to boxing and entertaining, you know, in his own lane and creating a lane for himself in the sport. So you can't handicap a fight like this too, huh?
Similarly, Chad Ochocinco Johnson is praising Jake Paul's serious commitment to boxing, applauding him for hiring professionals and studying the craft. He urges Paul to continue fighting people who box for a living rather than those who are washed up in other sports.
It can be very dangerous. So
Look, he believed in his skill. I love the fact that he took it serious. He hired professional people.
Yes.
He studied the craft. Mm-hmm. He got people to help him get better at his craft. Mm-hmm. This is what we wanted to see. Stop fighting guys that was washed up in their particular sport, be it basketball, be it UFC, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
If you're serious about that, okay, go fight guys that this is what they do for a living.
Sharp also emphasized that the extreme physical and tactical challenge facing Jake Paul, emphasizing the risk if the huge Anthony applies overwhelming pressure. He concludes that the fight will be highly watched because people want to see if Paul can achieve the impossible against such a massive elite opponent.
Anthony Joshua decides to add overwhelming pressure and become a pressure fighter and just come forward all fight long. Like you're not used to that. I don't care how much sparring you do.
And he ain't used to fighting somebody that size, Ocho. Anthony Joshua is huge.
I was just getting ready to say that. You know? So listen, I wish Jake Paul all the luck, you know, in that fight against Young Bull.
This man, he's 6'6".
Yeah, I thought he was 6'4".
6'6". They got him listed at 6'6".
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be one everybody's gonna be tuned in because you want to see it. You know, can Jake Paul do what most would consider the impossible? Getting in the ring, you know, with limited experience and fighting against an elite fighter who is really experienced.
Likewise, Chael Sonnen states that the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight is what critics wanted, a match against a seasoned, in his prime heavyweight, hoping to see the experiment end brutally, quickly, and decisively. Sonnen concludes by acknowledging Paul's bravery in accepting such a high-stakes contest.
As clearly as a person can speak, and Dana said it's a bad idea because very calmly, I'm acting it out like Dana. Said it's a very bad idea. Because it's everything that everybody's ever wanted, they're going to be given. Dana said, be careful with what you ask for. And what Dana's talking about is they want to see Josh Paul fight a seasoned, in his prime, of his size, real boxer. And that's what Joshua is. So Dana's talking about you're going to get what you asked for. Well, what you asked for is a real fight. What you asked for is for somebody with the power and the danger to beat your ass. What you, the audience, have asked for Jake Paul is that you want to see somebody end this experiment. Do it brutally, do it quickly, do it decisively. And that's what you've got. I think the courage that it takes for Jake Paul to do this, as well as for Joshua. You know, this isn't Joshua's first time doing a spoof fight.
Sonnen also suggests that Anthony will find the Jake fight easy, similar to his win over Ngannou. Sonnen highlights what would constitute a victory for Jake Paul, such as surviving the early rounds or a knockdown, but implies that the actual result will be determined by AJ's dominance.
Joshua trained plenty hard for it. But coming out the back, he probably realized I didn't need to train for that at all. That was fun. That was a good time. I got to hear him call my names. I got to go out there. I got to be light on my feet. I got to lay on these combinations and then cut an interview and pump my hands over my shoulders like I accomplished something. What dreams are made of. And so Joshua did one of those fights. It was with Francis, and this is a completely different kind of that type of fight. But it's still that fight nonetheless. Jake Paul has abilities to win this fight. A lot of them involved moral victories. A lot of them involved getting out of the first round. And a lot of them would involve getting out of the first 2 rounds and haven't been knocked down yet. One would be getting out of the 3rd round, you've only been on the canvas once, and you got up to your feet, you shook it off, and you're ready to keep going. Like, these things are all victories, but the fight that it's going to happen.
Sonnen continued by analyzing the Jake versus Anthony match, emphasizing its financial viability and predicting a decisive defeat for Paul. He believes the rules about it being an exhibition don't matter because the reality of full-speed punches ensures the contest will be one-sided.
These things that make dollars, they make sense. That's his business. This was his opportunity that he missed out on. And now Joshua's gonna have a lot of fun. And overall, I see the fight being one-sided. And people keep saying, well, slow down, wait till you hear what all of the rules under exhibition clause mean. As long as they're throwing punches at one another, full speed, I don't need to know what the rest of those bylaws say to tell you it's likely a one-sided beating.
From a promotional standpoint, Eddie Hearn defended AJ's choice to fight Jake Paul, emphasizing the enormous career high salary and the low-risk chance to defeat Paul quickly. He asserted that anyone in AJ's position would accept this lucrative and strategic opportunity.
Are you going to do this? Absolutely. Are we going to do this? For a record payday? To go in and spark Jake Paul before we start the serious stuff in 2026? Don't tell me what we should and what we shouldn't be doing. Answer the question honestly. Would you do it if you were AJ? When are you going to fight a real fighter goes well out the window, and I will have to personally provide a wheelbarrow so he can bring his cojones into the ring that night.
Adding to that, Brendan Schwab emphasizes the immense gap in skill, pointing to Anthony's Olympic and world champion pedigree versus Jake Paul's mid-blue belt level. He states that the fight must be an absolute domination by AJ. Otherwise, he would suspect that AJ is not giving his best effort.
Anthony Joshua is a gold medalist in the Olympics. He's a multiple-time world champion. He's fought the best of the best. He's not really over the hill either. If Jake Paul was just another boxer with his resume and his experience, you know, he's about a mid-blue belt. If we're giving you belts like jiu-jitsu, he's probably a blue belt, fighting in main events and all this stuff. If this fight isn't an absolute domination by Anthony Joshua, my spidey senses will go off. Now, that's not to say that I'm not saying Jake Paul has any language in the contract. There's no foul play whatsoever on Jake Paul's part. My skeptical hippo eyes or my spidey senses will come off that Anthony Joshua's not taking this real and he's not putting his best performance forward.
Brandon further argued that if Anthony Joshua fights seriously, the contest shouldn't even be a competition. However, he stresses that Jake always wins in these situations because the fight, a massive Netflix promotion, guarantees huge financial success and viewership, regardless of the athletic result.
If Anthony Joshua takes this serious, as he should, this shouldn't even be a competition, and it's brilliant because for Jake, okay, cool, man. got knocked out by one of the best to ever do it, or got finished by one of the best to do it. At least I got in there. And I'm not even a heavyweight. I'm a cruiserweight at best. Either I'm too light in the ass for that. I should be fighting down. He's shooting for the moon. He's going to land on the stars. And just to be absolutely clear, Jake always wins in these situations. It's his promotion, his deal with Netflix. This will get the most eyeballs ever. This will probably beat the Mike Tyson fight, because you're going, hold on, Jake Paul's finally going to lose? Because none of us actually thought Tyson was going to beat him. That's never happening. All of his fights, Nate Diaz, all these fights, you assume Jake's gonna win. He's fighting older guys. He's a young cat. You know, he's enthusiastic. Jake should pull this off.
However, Brendan discusses the potential for Anthony Joshua to underestimate the fight, suggesting human nature might lead him to prepare less intensely than he did for elite opponents. However, Schwab concludes that AJ has to take it really seriously because losing to Jake Paul would be a catastrophic event for his career.
So just by human nature, you're probably not going to do the same amount of road work as you did when you fought Klitschko. You're probably not going to have the same diet as you did when you fought, you know, Andy Ruiz. You know? And also, like with Francis, you could see he took it serious. All right, this is a big, strong dude. Went 12 rounds with Tyson Fury. I'm going to put this to an end. I'm going to take this serious. Because he is a big dude, and if he does land, you're going to have problems. And Joshua's had issues with his chin before. So he took that dead serious, and you see what happens. With this one, I can see him taking the foot off the gas a little bit.
Kind of see that, but then if he lost to Jake, that would probably just be so devastating. Like he has to take it really seriously, I would imagine. But I do understand the human nature part of it. Like, no matter what, I'm going to win this fight.
Finally, Showbiz The Adult argues that Jake Paul's fight with Anthony Joshua is a brilliant career move, asserting that even a dramatic defeat will gain Paul more respect and positive attention than all his previous wins. He concludes by declaring his strong belief in high-stakes bet on an Anthony Joshua knockout.
Anthony Joshua's glove, as I think he will. That would probably be worth more than any victory Jake Paul has ever had. Jake Paul may get more love. It may be better for his brand. He may actually get more praise by getting his face splattered across the glove of Anthony AJ Joshua than he has with any victory over washed up UFC fighters and pro boxers you've never heard of and all that. Him fighting Anthony AJ Joshua, just taking this fight here, it's almost impossible to criticize Jake Paul. Now listen, Anthony AJ Joshua is my brother. Love you, boy. MVP. Love you, boy. I will be there in Miami representing the War Room. And I'm telling you, the bag that I'm going to place on an Anthony AJ Joshua knockout is I'm going to put my house on it.
In the end, Jake Paul's jump to where Anthony Joshua stands as his boldest gamble yet. Even with the odds stacked against him, he keeps pushing the boxing world into new territory. Whatever happens, this fight guarantees massive attention and lasting impact.